My name is Grace.
And I'm Jacob.
We're both practicum students here with you today at Schmeekly, and we will be presenting our program, Stormy Stories. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, one of my favorite memories was watching the rain fall during a storm. And honestly, I think it's one of my favorite things to do now too. But sometimes it was scary, and sometimes it was peaceful. It was beautiful to me, just the same.
And I relate to storms as I was in the Scouts in my younger years, so I went tent camping a lot. And for me, when I felt secure and safe at night was when it was raining. It was a nice peaceful when you just hear the droplets on the tent. And for me, I fell asleep like a baby. But I also, storms can be dangerous. As how many of you has been through a tornado experience? As being the oldest brother of 3 younger sisters, my number job is to make sure their safety was my number one goal. So I took everyone to the basement and made sure everyone was safe and prepared.
Well, today we will be investigating how we know about storms in the modern day today, but we'll also be learning how people interpreted storms in the past. We'll also learn a couple of safety tips and tricks in case of an emergency, and we'll do some fun activities along the way too. But before we get all into that, I'd like to start out our program by doing a group discussion. So, during the discussion, your topic is going to be stormy stories of your own. So, if you'd like to either get closer or where you are is comfortable too, if you can hear each other well enough, just think about some memories you might have had with a particular storm that really impacted you, or maybe a story that you can think of that someone told you themselves. And then I'd like you to say your name, say your story, hopefully within a couple of minutes, and then the person next to you can go on, and we can go around the room. So if you'd like to start.
I know, the only thing I would think about is tornadoes or something like that, but Gavin said he saw one of them come through tornadoes, and I think nasty two places.
And what is your name?
Ron.
Ron, nice to meet you. Thank you, Ron.
I'm Sharon. The only thing I can remember was when we were growing up, we were kids, and Mom would always have this fantasy story would tell us when the thunder would be rolling over, she'd say, oh, the milk wagon tipped over and all the milk cans tipped out, so that was what made the noise, so. Okay.
Last year I was camping by La Crosse, and just as I was putting up a tent, it started raining hard for, and I got drenched, and the tent was wet for like that weekend on the floor, just like putting all the flaps. And it was like on and off again rain, and there was actually like, the vehicles were here, the tent was here, and the water was like, it was digging a trench, muddy over there. And I tried to look out later, and the ground was actually just too wet, and we were just nothing inside. That was the best one.
Sounds like.
What are we doing? Telling storm stories?
We are introducing ourselves and then saying either a memory or a storm story that impacted you.
I can go next.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, I'm Lynn, and I can remember as a kid growing up, I was 4 years old, and we were living in Fargo, North Dakota, and there were lots of tornadoes, and I remember, I can still see it in my mind. It was in the basement watching pour rain on our old Nash, and thunder and lightning crashing all around us. It was pretty common occurrence.
Well, I'm Dan, and this is my daughter. And it seems like we get really lucky every time we go camping. There's always some sort of a storm. And I remember one year we were camping with my dad, and he's got a pop-up camper, but we tent camped, so the girls were in a tent and I was in a hammock. And it ended up storming really, really bad, so we all ended up huddling up in Grandpa's pop-up camper for the night.
One of my first family campers was a pop-up. Love those things.
Yeah, they're fun.
I'm Kurt, and I remember a lot of times while driving, we would go south to Florida, and I don't know how many times you get caught in a storm where it just got the wipers on fast, can't see nothing, and you're in 6 lanes of traffic, people flying past you. All of us have experienced like that.
I thought, I'm June, I thought he was gonna say the time we were going, and I forgot about that. But the tornadoes were behind us, you know, and they kept saying they're coming, and we were kind of, I wouldn't say we were racing, but we were racing away from them. But what I remember is we used to have a cabin up north, so we had and it's, when I say cabin, I mean it was 20 by 20, outdoor plumbing. And we had companies, we stayed in the cabin, somebody else, one of the other families stayed in the little camper that they had, and then we had another little, it was just a big, used to be a garage, and that's where the other people were staying. And we had that storm, and when we got up the next morning, one of the big trees had fallen, but it was like only this far from the outlaying cabin where they had been sleeping. So, you know, it was pretty, it came pretty close to falling right on it, as close as you could get without actually taking it down.
That's quite a story.
I just
It was
remembered
wonderful.
3 or 4 more. That's okay.
It was wonderful hearing all of you guys' stories. These stories are really key in helping us better understand how weather works exactly as well, because they help us ask questions. These questions also help us think critically about what we're interpreting in weather, and it also lets us look for answers. This is, in fact, the basis for all science as we know it today. So one of the first questions you might be thinking of is, what exactly is a storm? So does anyone maybe have an idea or think they might know what a storm is exactly? I guess is okay too.
Are we talking about rain, snow,
Bad weather.
bad weather, high pressure, low pressure, collide, moisture, all of those things, or wind?
I would say that's exactly how I would interpret a storm. The simple definition for a storm really is there's a disturbance in the atmosphere and there's strong winds, usually rain and usually thunder, but there's many different types of storms. Sand can be included, snow can be included. Debris can change how a storm works. But one thing in common that they all share is 3 ingredients that they need to create them. 1 is moisture, 2 is instability, and 3 is a lifting mechanism. Does anyone think they might know where storms get all this moisture, create all this rain and all this massive storm clouds?
The ocean?
Yes, the ocean's going to be the biggest source of moisture for storms to be created. Lakes, rivers, streams, snow, if you're in Antarctica, possibly. But yes,
If you're in
gonna
the
be-
UP, you get lots of moisture from Lake Superior, and it kind of falls on the peninsula.
Yeah, exactly. So, instability is when warm air is lying beneath cooler air above it. You might, in example, notice that storms are going to be more frequent, especially here in Wisconsin, we know, with how the weather is just kind of at a drop of the hat changing. But if you'll have a really warm day and then a really cool day, those air currents kind of mix together and create this unstable effect. So a lifting mechanism, it's a vertical motion, but it doesn't really just happen spontaneously. Something needs to nudge it to get it moving. So this nudge is due to the air density changing. This is like kind of the thickness of the air. But the sun's heat can affect those temperatures in the air and therefore density, but so do air fronts, which is cold air and hot air meeting at one point. But also the terrain, if you're in a mountainous area, this can change densities in the air as well. But these storms can come in a variety of types, and depending on what they're influenced by, can create different types of storms. So, as an activity, you might have seen a couple of these images, like these ones, posted around. I have 6 of these hidden around this room. I want you, with your team, to try and find each of these 6 storms. Now I'm going to split you guys just down the middle. I have one team over here. And see if you can't match these terms to the pictures that you see. You might have to look under things as well as a hint.
Look around and about.
Or under the chairs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you might actually get way low.
See anything under your chair? Nope, that's not it.
Well, this is lighting. What's on the, I don't know,
Here's one.
what's on the list? We got the list.
Do you have a list? Yeah. So you want us to pick them up or leave them be?
I think it's. That's,
Yeah, that's tornado, is that the one?
I think so. There's one way up there.
On the container.
Oh,
Oh, on the yellow?
Go find another one.
As long as there's a tornado there.
Is there?
I'm not sure, oh, a hurricane, the difference is the water. Between a tornado and a hurricane, it's over the water.
Yeah, I think this is I think that's looking over the top of the hurricane. There's a hurricane under there.
Oh.
Just get down on your hands and knees to look at it.
You might also see on your sheet some fun facts along the
Yeah,
way.
you're more fancy.
If you guys can remember all of the fun facts on the sheet, I have a prize.
The blizzard, and it was a dust storm, and I don't know what came out of it.
Oh, right there.
Oh,
That's a dust storm?
yeah.
Brooklyn, did you comment on that one?
Just instructions.
Oh, did you find one?
Nope.
Oh, so yeah, we got blue.
The blizzard.
Oh, okay, so you're blue, they're blue. Oh, we, that one down there?
One of these tables, I think I found it down here already. This is the hurricane from, yes.
Oh, on the back of the door, right there. The roller.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
And that's the.
To see those, oh, is there? See that?
Yeah, I
Got
think it was
it right there,
a couple
yeah.
years ago, we did something, we did that one here, right?
You have extra?
That's over on the
Oh, and the geometric,
Good job,
is
team.
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
Last one was right here, bro.
Oh, you saw that one, right?
That's a storm.
No, I would never.
Yeah.
He's got one under
Do you
there.
remember when we said that?
No. I don't think so.
That's one that was the coolest one.
I like the haboon.
Shoot, doesn't really.
It could be.
Help me remember what I'm going to say.
It's a hurricane that's about just as big. You can pull it off.
Right.
Oh, speech quiz.
Anyone remember one of the fun facts on the sheet that they saw? The first person who can remember, I have a prize for.
Those cause bird disturbances.
Geomagnetic.
Hurricanes start at 24 miles per hour.
Yes, that's correct.
Ooh, there you go.
I didn't read anything more than the
I
names.
have this beautiful pen topper
Wow.
for you as your prize.
All right.
All right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well, we wouldn't know about all of these different weather events that we saw without the help of people in the past, because they help us see what they interpreted in their time for the weather they saw. So Jacob, put this on.
All right. Well, right now we are going to be switching over towards the mythology side of it. Because back then, there was no smartphones to look at the weather, no internet. People didn't know how some of these occurrences happened. But we're going to go over some stories of how that happened, of throughout the entire world of different mythologies. And we're going to do a couple skits. So I need, for the first skit, we're going to be exploring Greek mythology. I need 3 volunteers to be participants. You want to participate? You want to participate? You want to participate? All right, come on up. Come on up. What's your name again? Broker?
We have costumes.
Dan.
Dan? Craig. All right.
You need a Zeus.
Who wants to be Zeus?
Nice to meet you. He's tall.
All right.
You
No,
need
you don't
a
have to.
prince and a princess.
Princess.
Princess, who wants to be the
Me
princess?
too.
If it doesn't fit, you can either twist it or untwist it in the back.
Here you
Or wear it
go.
just like this.
So you're not going to have to read any lines. I will be the narrator. There you go, Zeus. And we got a little lightning bolt for you. All right. So let me just get a paper real quick. Okay, so whatever you read into parentheses is the action you're going to perform. So for example, when I say the mighty Zeus, you're going to flex. Yeah. All right. Or when I say you look, or if it says act like you're disappointed, make like a face like you're disappointed. I like it, I like it. All right. Now let us begin, shall we? In a land long time ago, there was the mighty Zeus, king of the gods, but also punisher of humanity. He did not like the way humanity was behaving and decided to punish humanity by creating a great flood. He chose 2 people to save, Deucalion and his wife Pyrrha. As Zeus deemed Deucalion worthy, was the most honest man as well as his wife. He tasked both of them to construct a boat to save themselves from the great flood. As Zeus creates the flood and punishes humanity, Deucalion and Pyrrha get into their boat.
Here comes your boat.
Look at that, you created a boat. And the brave storm that lasted for 9 days and 9 nights. When the storm ended, Deucalion and Pyrrha landed ashore and continued to walk to find any sign of life they may have left. After a while, all life seemed to be gone, and no hope was detected. Deucalion thought of an idea, that if Earth was the mother, and the stones were her bones, maybe that would create mankind. With Pyrrha laughing in disbelief, Deucalion threw a stone over his shoulder. And the stone turned into man. After both were shocked, Pyrrha decided to throw a stone over her shoulder. And the stone transformed into a woman. Thus, how humanity was able to repopulate and start a new beginning. The end. Congratulations. All right.
She likes her son.
You can keep it. It's all right. Now, does that story sound familiar? A great flood, a boat.
Yep.
Is-
Yep. Pardon?
Noah's Ark, correct? Yes. Now there was another god in ancient Mayan culture called Huracan. Now Huracan was the ancient Mayan god, and the people viewed him as both creator and judgment. Now what he would do is, if humanity seemed unworthy, much like Zeus, he would cast a great and catastrophic storm to punish them, as he was the god of wind, rainstorms, lightning, and fire. And Huracan, does that sound familiar?
Mm.
Hurricane, that is correct. It is the correct word from his name. The word hurricane. And for our next skit, we'll be entering in Japan for their mythology and how it related to a real world event. And this time I only need 2 volunteers. You want to volunteer? All right, come on up. I just need one more person. Hey, you want to come on up? All right, all right.
Right. You want the smoky mask or the beard?
Whoa, you're going to like this one.
You will be wielding this wind beard.
All right.
Well, you already have a beard, so.
An extra beard.
Protection for the beard. I
No
like it.
beard, yes.
I'll just get your skits. You'll be reading the yellow part, or you'll be acting the yellow part, and you will be reading the green part, okay? Oh, you don't need to read, you just have to act it out, okay? Alrighty. Lights, camera, action! In the year 1274, the Mongolian Empire decided to invade Japan by sailing the sea to conquer by a fleet of over 40,000 troops and anywhere between 500 to 900 vessels. Japan seemed doomed. Rajin, the god of thunder, lightning, and storms, knew he had to do something to save Japan from intimate doom. As the Mongolian naval fleet came closer and closer to Japan, Rashid decided to create known as the divine winds, called kamikaze, which acted like a typhoon and pushed the air and destroyed 1/3 of their forces, leaving the rest of the Mongolian Empire to retreat. But that wasn't it. In the year 1281, the Mongolian Empire decided to go for round 2. But this time, with over 4,400 Navy vessels and over 140,000 troops. Now this time, Japan wasn't ready. But Rajin, while stunned, was able to go at it again and strike the defiant winds against the Mongolian Empire, thus saving Japan from intimate doom. Thank you. Thanks. Now, how many of you remember the geomagnetic storm, the Northern Lights? Has anyone actually seen the Northern Lights? I have. I've seen them right here in Stevens Point. So hard to see them because they only come out. But my dad was stationed in Fairbanks, Alaska, and got to see them all the time. He said it was one of the most beautiful sights he's ever witnessed. And I asked him when I was born, he goes, "No, not that beautiful." But anyways, the Northern Lights often depicted of many cultures from around the world that how they viewed it. From the Norse god in the Scandinavian region, they depicted as armor and spears for the Valkyrie, which were women warriors to go into battle. The Swedish believed that it was a school of herring, which is a type of fish, that would often go into nearby seas for their next harvest. In Inuit tribes, they believed that it was often animals that they have hunted, such as caribou, seals, salmon, other kinds of critters that they hunted, depicted them as dancing around and going into the next life. But how many people know the Menominee tribes here in Wisconsin? Yeah. We are technically on the border between Menominee, Ojibwe, and Ho-Chunk area, right here in Stevens Point. And the Menominee viewed the lights as torches for the giants that would spear fish for their next harvest. And now for our final skit, I just need 2 volunteers. You are a world-class actors right here. All right, come on up, come on up. You're gonna make bank one day, I can tell you. Bird, all right.
Put arms to these little.
Other hand.
Oh, other arm. Yep.
So super cool.
This one's from you there?
I guess it is. All right. And here's your skits. You'll be reading the green part. You will be acting out the green part. And you will be acting out the yellow part. And where did I put the lightning bolts? Thank you. Here's your lightning bolts. And this. There's your rock. Alrighty. Now we're up to West. Alright. With that being said, again, but before we start, who knows of the thunderbird? Or has ever heard of it? Now there are many, many variations throughout the United States of tribal people, how they view the thunderbird, but the Menominee had their own view and their story to tell that happened right here in Wisconsin. Without further ado, here we go. While there were many stories of the thunderbird across the U.S. and different variations of each tribal nations, this story takes place in Wisconsin. This legendary The story is legendary by the Ojibwe and Menominee people. They viewed the thunderbird, as a protector against the evil water spirits, the serpent, that wreaked havoc amongst humanity. With the thunderbird saying enough is enough, challenging the water spirits to a great battle. The battle took place over Devil's Lake, and the battle started with the thunderbirds soaring into the sky, straight up like a hawk, and dived down towards the water while shooting thunderbolts towards the water serpents. But the water serpents fired back with large stones to attack thunderbirds that resembled the stone that would capture the thunderbirds and bring them to the water and drag them to the underworld, which is also where I can find my sister. But the battle lasted for days, with trees being cleared out and rocks crumbled into everywhere along Devil's Lake. When the battle ended, the water spirits were destroyed, and the Thunderbird headed north to nest after its victorious battle. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The wings we will be protected.
Can't keep those, they're too nice.
Sorry. There we go. A little tricky.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. So we learned a lot about mythology, and fun fact, who's here been to Devil's Lake State Park? And how many know the terrain of it with all the broken rocks? Legend says that's why they are there in the first place. Others may say different, but who knows if that really did happen?
There was a glacier.
And, yep, Wisconsin is very, terrain is depicted a lot by glaciers. But without further ado, sometimes in real world scenarios, we have to think, what do we do? Are storms good or are storms bad? And how do we prepare for them? So, that will be our next topic that we'll each shall explore. Yes, this time. So, who here can tell me how storms are beneficial? How are they good to our environment? Is that possible? Does anyone have any ideas?
Rain.
I have an idea.
Oh, you do? You said rain? Yep, rain is good for,
Crops?
yes. Without water, without rain and crops, well, we have no food. So that is a vital part of our life. Anyone else can think of any other ideas?
Adequate snow.
What was that?
Adequate snow.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Provides many shelter for many of them.
Oh, yes, very much indeed.
It's kind of like Mother Nature pruning itself when all the dead limbs and branches come falling.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're not dead, but still lots of things fall. Lots of trees
exactly.
fall.
Creating new habitat for many critters around,
Habitat, yes.
especially like Speakley Reserve or your backyard.
Maybe I sage trail.
Yeah. But how can storms be a negative thing? What can they do to a lot of people?
If it's a big flood, people are stranded.
Oh, yes. Hurricane Katrina was a big example of that, or where people had no access to finding higher shelter or higher land.
In fact, we just had a whole bunch of, well, we had some heavy rains and the Wolf River's over its banks, the Milwaukee River's over its banks. There's lots of flooding.
Oh, yeah. What is it? What's the interstate between Stevens Point and Madison? Is it I-94 or something?
Yeah.
It used to be 2 lanes, now it's just 1 lane because how bad the flooding is, and I just saw it a couple days ago. And yes, traffic gets backed up, so, but that is just future reference if anyone's trying to go to the Madison area. But yes, storms can be very catastrophic. They can cost a lot of money.
It's so close to the
Yes, indeed, yeah. And, sorry. But how can we prepare for storms? Like, let's say you're in your house and there's a storm coming and you might be stranded for days in that house. How can you prepare? Well, lucky for us, I have my own kit. And yes, this is my real kit that I use. Don't ask me how I got the bag, it was a gift. But it's essential. Now, a few lists that we can have. One, hand warmers. We need to stay warm, obviously. I also have a fire kit, a fire starter, just in case I do get stranded and I need to get out. I can create fires to stay warm. Water. It says that we cannot last a maximum of 3 days without water. And that's just on low energy. If you're going around trying to climb out of an area or stranded in an area, you're using a lot more energy and you're getting dehydrated more faster. So water is very important. They say roughly keep a gallon of water with you a day. I always have rope with me just in case. My trusty rain jacket, I always keep on hand. I bought this when I went to Tree Haven, which is a giant nature education program that all CNR majors go to. And it's nice, I got plenty of pockets, so I can keep my notes safe. My cheat cards sometimes? No, I'm just kidding. But in case I do get lost and rescue is on the way, I have a whistle. Now I'm not going to blow in here because it might be a bit too loud. But I also have an emergency space blanket. Now this is used to help trap in your body heat and stay warm, but also does it damped up because you think, well, I could just use a blanket or a sleeping bag. Those are great too, but if you're in a situation where your sleeping bag or blanket is wet, then it's kind of useless. So, space blanket is what I always keep with me. You also need medical aid, so I always have Band-Aids with me. Tylenol, just in case, for pain. And this is what my grandmother gives me. This is called emu oil. Now, who here has ever heard of it?
Heard of it.
Can you guess where it comes from? Yep, exactly. It comes from the fatty parts of an emu, and this is nature when you get small cuts, mosquito bites, burns. This thing is one of the best natural medicines I've ever done, and my grandma always is stocked up. Also keep a few snacks, very important. Non-perishable items, and if you're ever in a situation where you have a kit, always a good idea to check the expiration date.
Oh, it's Twinkies.
Oh.
That's forever.
I also always have a multi-tool with me, just in case. A flashlight, always make sure it has batteries with it. A lighter, just in case. But lighters can be inefficient as, well, if the fluid is drained out, or this, well, this is not the typical one, but if the sparker is not working right. But I always like to do, when it comes to scenarios, is a hoodie. Now you're like, well, let me just get a giant coat. Giant coats are great, but let's say you get hot, you take it off, but now you're too cold. So it's always a good idea to have different layers, such as a t-shirt, jacket, hoodie, coat, something like that. That way you could just take off a layer without taking off a whole set. Now, does anyone here have any storm shelters or has anything just in case for a weather scenario where you may have the seat covered?
We have all of those things, but not all in one place.
Fair enough, fair enough. It's always a good idea to try to have them all in one place, but it is always grateful to have them within your arm's reach.
A basement or a bathroom that has no windows is also a good location
Yeah.
for you to go to.
Now, we've had a lot of different storm events in the past month. Was here for the 20 inches of snow that we had back in March. I was stuck and work called me in. I work at Quick Trip they're like, are you coming in today? And I'm like, unless I got a tall truck that can get me there, no, I am stuck. They're like, it's okay. And nearly all restaurants were closed. And our power did go out, so we were scarce on getting food. But thankfully, I was prepared. Now, who remembers the ice storm that we had?
Oh, jeez.
I was also without power. I also had to work that day, and with, I think it was our 1 and 2 other quick trips, that was open. So you can imagine how busy it got. I think we sold, average we sell about 20 pizzas a day. We sold 80.
Oh my.
Yeah, we were out and scarce. But but when panic comes into mode, it creates havoc, and we have to prepare for that. So when I came home, I made sure I had emergency contacts that I can call. So I called up my friend, said, "Hey, do you have power by chance? I need somewhere to sleep tonight so I can get to my classes in the morning." He goes, "Come on over, I have power." Now, how about the record amount of, I know we talked briefly about this, but the quite a record-breaking, in my opinion, record-breaking rainfall we've had in 1 week.
Oh, yeah.
And then with the ground not being fully defrosted yet, it's been flooding. And even my backyard, where it still has no water, I just sink my boot into the ground, and now my socks are wet. But that's why, when I was in the Scouts, it's always great to be prepared. And that's our motto. So without further ado, let's kind of wrap things up and talk about what we learned. We talked about different types of storms that have occurred, such as, and do we remember what kind of storms we went over through the scavenger hunt?
Blizzard,
Hurricane.
blizzard,
Haboob. Haboob. Dust storm. The magnetic storm. Geomagnetic.
Storm, also known as aurora borealis.
We also talked about different types of mythology. We had a fun skit thanks to our 3 actors, and how they depicted storms back then. And now we just went over what kind of things we should be prepared for, and what kind of, how storms can be beneficial but also negative towards our community. And without further ado, we're going to wrap things up. I want everyone to close their eyes. It gets hard. Slight noise advisory. But everyone wants to close their eyes and imagine yourself in your home, and you're just thinking, not a care in the world, having a great time, playing your favorite board game. Then all of a sudden you hear you realize, what do I do? Do I go to the basement in case of a hurricane or a tornado? Well, that's up to you. You take a look at your phone and it says, weather. Go to shelter immediately. You go into your basement and you have your kid ready for you, just because you went to our presentation today. Without further ado, lights, Grace. Everyone open your eyes. I want to say thank you everyone for coming to our presentation on Stormy Stories, and hopefully you were prepared as I was when I was in the Scouts, and now you can be prepared as well. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.